So I think we have a guest who's going to be, I guess, a permanent member now of our sheriff's office, and we may have one person that may be moving on down the road, but I think Abe is in the meeting here with us. Is that right? So we just want to welcome Abe back to the village family, and glad he's back here with us. And Jimmy, we know where you live, so you can't go far. But again, thanks for being there, and I'm sure we'll continue having a relationship with Jimmy, and excited to have Abe back with us. So with that, we have an item to review and approve our minutes from December 11th.
And I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Okay. I assume there was 3 ayes there. So minutes are approved. Moving on to committee, just want to talk a bit about conversation that was brought up to me by Danielle that there's a suggestion that we start relooking at and our technology needs for the village and just see what that outcome is. And we'll look at everything, and I'm sure that we'll come back here sooner than later and make some proposed changes. And I'll work with Danielle, and we'll put together something to come back to you guys. So that's all I have.
Question, is that technology thing, does that include our phone system too?
Phone, security, any infrastructure, generator outside, the whole ball of wax, cameras. Any questions?
Or you guys how did it work out on the weather day with are we set up to do that again easily the next time?
Yes.
Or is that part of this? Okay. All right, that might want to be discussed then. Okay.
We don't think the generator came on.
Ooh, that part came, okay.
So that didn't come on, the phones didn't get forwarded or didn't get set right away. And then, I couldn't get to my email until later and, I took care of that without.
Okay, because that's one of the things we want to make sure that it's a real easy fit.
But I could only get to email, I couldn't get to files that I needed for some people.
How long were we off here? Does anybody know?
It's like 2 hours.
No.
You're around longer. Here, we're out for like 5 minutes, it came back on for about 5-10 minutes, and it went back off for another 5-10 minutes, and then it stayed on.
Wow.
It wasn't a big time here, farther down past Bitter Street, we're out longer.
Yeah, we across the street where we were out for 2 hours with the second one.
See, we're good here.
Yeah, I was good too. I was only out for, maybe 20 minutes at the most at one time, but, we had people across AJ's that were out for 2 hours, and people way down past Thursday were out for longer.
Well, I guess because the issue was on Bittersweet, I think,
Okay.
yeah, so anybody past Bittersweet.
So does anybody know if the generator kicked on or?
The generator did not take on.
So, I was here.
Okay. So, well, I just had one other piece I kind of forgot to mention about this technology. There's one other item that I was going to add to that list, and that's kind of a contingency. And you guys kind of got into a little bit. A while back, we had a document for the village that listed out things to check on a regular basis just to make sure they're working, like the generator, so that when something does happen, we know what to expect. And I guess, expect what you expect. So we'll add that to the list as well. Is that okay, Danielle? Okay. Anything else on my side? If not, Dave, you want to start us off?
I have no reports for the fire departments. Street lights, we're off and running, up and a thumbs up on that, so I'll jump right into our building codes and permits. Again, let's start with 2023. Right, yeah, this is going back, yes, 2023. We had for December, we had 3,975 for the permit revenues. We were down a little bit here in 2024, 3,380. So we were almost $600 down. Permit. So this is probably the big one here. Year to date for the end of December then. So in 2023, we had 75,495. And in 2024, we had 72,845. So we were down for the year 2,650.
But that's still better than we originally thought.
It sure is really better than I thought it would really have started off with. Number of permits year to date. 129, 129. Is that a typo or that just happened? That just happened. Okay, that's pretty strange. Scheduled permits 25 this year, 42 last year. So, you know, that turned out very good, I think, for where the year really started. Off to our security. Is that you, Major, or we got, or you on it? Okay, all right. This might be your last report that you will do, I guess.
You never know.
All right, thank you.
For the month of December, it was a pretty typical winter month. Deputies out here responded to 159 calls for service, which included 5 domestic disturbances, 3 emotionally disturbed persons, 2 harassment, 1 identity theft, 1 property damage. Unlawful use of a weapon. We only had 1 motor vehicle crash, and trespassing call, just name a few. There's 11 people arrested for driving while intoxicated, and 1 for drug possession. And just to mention, there's 1 traffic stop where the deputy recognized the driver, which was didn't have a driver's license, it was suspended. The driver was arrested for that, and they ended up asking for consent to search the car, which was denied. We called another county's K9 down here just due to our familiarity with 2 people, which had a positive hit. Which meth was located in the car, and drug paraphernalia. So the passenger was arrested too, because those items were found in her purse. And then once at the jail, it was found that she had more meth, which was inside of her. So she got off the charge with that. And the other one was a local business was shot up overnight, one night. We got called the next morning because none of their alarms went off or anything like that. There's a total of, the building got hit 4 times. And we were able to locate 4 of the 5 shell casings, because the video showed there was 5 shots. We were able to recover 2 bullets inside, lodged in the walls of the building. We got video from the store. Our detectives were called out. They canvassed the area trying to find more video of a possible suspect. Right now, it's still ongoing investigation. I believe if we had license plate readers, we possibly would be able to already have that identified that day. But as of right now, we don't. So that's still ongoing investigation. So that's where we're at.
Okay. Did you have any trouble getting around on our streets?
Nope, our guys out here didn't complain at all. Like home.
And that just segues me into the Horseshoe Bend Road District. What a wonderful job these guys do, man. Sparks flying off the plows before they can even hardly get them cleaned out. So kudos to them. I know I certainly called Kevin on all that.
I was gonna say they do good work, and we communicate with them back and forth during all that, just in case they need anything. They know who's working out here, so I make sure they know. And, just in case they need anything, like any cars blocking up a road with their trying to plow, and stuff like that, so.
Yeah.
We were good to go.
Great. Appreciate it, Jim, Major. Thank you. That's all I have for my report.
Any questions for Dave? If not, Luann?
Okay, what we'll be discussing is the year-end finances as they were completed. As far as ARPA is concerned, we met our budget to the penny. 2025, we'll start the year off with the remaining 33,000 in the bank account. That will go to the final payment of our contractor consultant fee. It's scheduled or obligated for the pedestrian handrails on areas where it's steep going down the walking trail. And the remaining money will be spent on Trillium Park. If we exceed that amount, we'll pull it out of our capital funds. Okay, budget versus actual. We'll look at next. As far as income, and all three funds, we received more income than we budgeted, which is good. Income, if you look at comparing all three together, the total income, net income was $61,518 above what we budgeted. All right, now I'm gonna give us some bad news. I went ahead and pulled our sales tax revenue for December of last year, which gets deposited in January of this year. December is usually a lower number than other months. It was 40% lower than last year's December numbers. So we only took, last year we took in 17,000 for sales tax revenue. This time it's only 10,000. And I'm kind of anticipating that that's going to proceed throughout the year because it did this past year. We took in less money than we did the year before. So, and I'm assuming the reason the sales tax, I can research it further, but I'm assuming it's because we had 2 restaurants close during 2024. As far as our expenses, all funds were under budget in every category. We reduced our expenses by over $104,000, combined with the 3 funds. So our net income, and that's that bottom number on page 2, our net income that we'll be carrying forward from our funds from last year and expenses from last year is $166,380. Okay. So we're currently carrying over plenty in each of our bank accounts to cover the income shortages that I'm kind of anticipating for 2025 compared to budget. Okay. And we'll watch that every month. If you look at the statement of financial income and expense, that's where we're comparing the 12 months of 24 to the 12 months of 23. Okay. Our revenue income was down by 50,000 from the previous year. And that's on the right-hand column. Okay. We're down $50,000. Of that, 46,000 of it was the sales tax revenue. Okay, so bad deal there. Our expenses were down in the general fund, but they were up in the street and the capital. The street's kind of deceptive because the reason it's up is because our first class money came in at more, but then it went out at more. Okay, so that's why it looks like compared to the year before, it's higher. The capital fund, and it was all intentional and it was in our budget. Our expenses were up because we added the pavilion. We started that, so that's $20-something thousand we've already spent. The splits for the downstairs police substation, a new printer, and then the materials for the culverts that we fixed. So our income is actually, compared to the 2 years, is down 38,000. Okay, but we're still in good shape because we're carrying forward a lot of money. Any questions? Okay, we'll just keep watching it and I'll keep you posted.
Great, thanks, Luann. Renita?
Okay, emergency management, Paul Rader, I completed that county multi-jurisdiction hazardous mitigation questionnaire thing. It took a lot of time. We're so happy it's over with. We mailed it in yesterday. Returned it, so that's done, thank goodness. Horseshoe Bend, I did talk to Kevin today just to touch base if anything was happening. He said no, slow time for the road district. Everything went well during the winter time, during this last storm. He did say they did have a few breakdowns in like some of their vehicles, and I know I talked to them like about a week ago or so when they were doing still some tree trimming. And their bucket truck, actually, a guy got stuck up in the bucket truck, but they couldn't get it down, so they ended up calling, I guess it was close to an electric line. Cause they ended up having to call Ameren out, so the guy was up there for quite a while, and they finally got him down. And then when they got him down, they couldn't get the, those support legs, they couldn't get those lifted, so that was one of the examples of their issue, but. It was a long day, Kevin said, on that day.
Yes, got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He said the guy was doing okay too, close to the end, he was starting to get cold then. Luckily, it wasn't one of the real windy days. And then I did talk to the water company, spoke to Anthony, they didn't have any problems, and even during the cold weather. When the power went out for a while, they have that, new system about a year ago they got. Where it actually alerted Anthony that the power was off, so he was made aware of it, they handled it. He said no frozen, meters. Because a couple of years ago, they put those new meters in. But he said now, a lot of times what happens is after it thaws out, some will show up, so you may hear some later on in the. Part. And, planning and zoning, there's something later on the agenda to talk about that, and so that's it for me.
Thanks, Renita. Thanks for completing that form. That's like an every 5-year thing, if I remember, and it's a
Yeah,
big deal for us. Is it okay right now if we talk a bit about this FEMA floodplain? Do you want to mention anything about that, or do you want me to mention something about it, or?
you can mention, because I really don't know anything outside of the meeting's been changed to a different time.
Okay. The county and the new representative has decided to pull a meeting together to talk about this floodplain. That's basically getting a lot of people concerned that it's pretty high. And I think the current maps show that it's 3 feet over the dam. Jeff Vernetti, talking to him, he met with SEMA and they mentioned that that map was wrong. And that this meeting that was scheduled for the 7th, they were going to have a kind of a town hall at one of the schools up at Camden County, Camdenton. And SEMA was going to come in and talk about that and see if they could help with any of the concerns. That meeting, as Renita said, didn't happen. It hasn't been rescheduled, but I think that's something that we need to pay attention to and be part of as it comes. But we'll see how that goes. But he felt pretty good that there was some information out there that wasn't correct. And then he pushed SEMA real hard to either take the map down or fix it. So we'll see how that comes out. Any questions for Renita or?
I did reach out to the POA on that first meeting and asked them if they could do an email alert. Which they said, yeah, they would be able to do it. Of course, we had to cancel that, so lucky didn't. So that's one area that we'll be able to get the word out to residents. And the people in the POA whenever the next meeting comes up.
Awesome. Well, I think there'll be a lot of attendees and a lot of people that want to voice their concerns. Okay, anything else, Renita?
No, I did not.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, unfinished business pavilion update. I know I talked to Ike. Ike, do you have anything you want to share?
We've got the base rock up to about a foot lower than what we need. So we're gonna need to put in a retaining wall, and I've got bids out to several of the local landscapers. They're still right now with cutting grass and leaves, so they're getting bids together for me and get them back to me this week, possibly next week. And then we'll bring the base rock up another foot, so we can dig the footings in through that base rock, and then we'll get the bid out for the concrete. And we're waiting on bids on local builders for the pavilion itself. So we're moving right along, just slow right now this time of year.
Awesome. Any questions for Ike? Ike, thanks for helping with this. We're definitely going to be moving here, getting some of this stuff taken care of. Okay, Trillium Park. Anyone have any conversation about that item?
Okay, until the weather clears.
So the weather breaks, we won't go out there and dig anything up.
I'm gonna ask a question. Did Cooper do that originally too, like they did this park, or was that, do we know?
Yes.
They did,
They
okay,
did.
so they know where the water lines.
Where the drain lines are, yes.
Okay, that was my question.
Okay, anything else on that? All righty, pedestrian trails, handrails.
We got one bid or
I
one
have
estimate.
one estimate, and then I have one bid back from another contractor, just came in yesterday.
Okay,
So we were closed Monday, he just got to me yesterday, so, I will get that printed out and get that to.
good, okay, because we can't really order the handrails till we know how they're gonna be installed.
Correct.
Okay, got that.
Awesome. Good. Anything else on that? If not, we'll go to new business. I understand there was a P and Z meeting this week. Does someone want to update us on that, how it went?
I can update you on that, I think, we had a good meeting last night, I think it went well, I think we had. 5, maybe, on the board, maybe 6, maybe I would have been 7th. The developers showed up and they brought their, engineer, which is with us, still tonight. I guess they went home. We, I don't know if this would be the time to bring that up, that the board, do you want to know the results of how that all went at this time? I
Yeah,
guess.
I would think so. And plus, I think if there is a recommendation, then we probably need to make a motion, either approve the recommendation to move forward or table it for further discussion or.
Okay, the presentation was made, it was a good presentation, we discussed it for maybe 30 minutes. Wasn't really a whole lot of questions or a whole lot of problems with anything. The vote was made on it last night, it was a unanimous vote to grant the developer the permit to change, or the permit, I guess it'd be called, to change it from a commercial zoning to a R2 zoning. So the board would be then, it's not the board's decision, the P and Z board. So their blessing was that they blessed it to send it back to us, and then we would vote on that to decide if we, as the board, want to go with their decision or if we want to change their decision on that. Okay. The developer again did bring, and their engineer did bring a little bit of some extra stuff that we asked for last night. A little more detail, that type of thing. I would think this may be the time before we bring it up. I was there, Renita, of course, Luann, you were not. Do you see anything in here that you have questions on again while we have the engineer and the developer here?
Well, I mean, I like the idea that it would turn back to R2, residential, whether it be R1 or R2. My opinion was wanted a bar there.
Yeah. What is the exterior gonna be, out of curiosity?
It's gonna look very similar to the Havens that's already built there, it'll just be different color. So if you look at the architecture, the building style, the single slope on the roofs, it's all made to look like they belong together, but it won't be part of the Havens, it'll be its own separated entity. It'll have its own small HOA to manage the landscaping and the exterior to keep that looking nice.
Okay.
One thing that they did bring up last night, and Curtis, correct me when I'm off here, I think it's about 6,000 square feet each unit.
Oh, okay.
They're pretty good size, they got 2-car garages, they have some boat slips that are going with it, of course, you know, that's really not our department in that, but
Yeah, it'll be very
high end.
Well, what you guys developed out there with the Havens,
Mhm.
I feel very comfortable with what you provided and what you'll probably be producing here. So thank you very much. I actually went through one of those.
So did
Several weeks, about a month ago, because I was just nosy and.
Oh, it's like that.
The extra garages are those for the people that own those to have an extra garage if they needed a 3rd-car garage or whatever.
Yep.
The parking,
Mhm.
great idea.
Mhm.
Learned the hard way that you can't park too many cars in the driveway.
Yep.
And especially in a unit this size, you're gonna have multiple people there, so
Mhm.
that's a smart idea to have.
Each one of them has a swimming pool also
Yeah.
down there on the deck sides. Any other questions then from that? Tony, I'll turn it back over to you. I don't think there, any of the board has any other questions about that.
I think either we're in a position to do one or two things. If we need more time, more discussion, if not, then do we want to, does someone want to make a motion to take the recommendation from the P and Z?
I will make that recommendation to take that, I will make the motion to take that recommendation from the P and Z that we do, grant this change from the commercial to an R2 zoning.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second.
Second it.
Okay, any further discussion? I would suggest we do a roll call on this, if you guys are okay with that, so that we can put that in the minutes. And right now, we have a motion made and second, and if Danielle can do a quick roll call for us.
Yep. Renita Jones,
Yes.
Dave Purdue,
Yes.
Luann Rex,
Yes.
Tony Baldridge.
Yes. Okay, so I guess the folks are in the room that are part of this program have got this information to move forward. My only question is, how soon are they going to start construction?
Well, it's pretty frozen.
Yeah, as soon as the weather allows, so.
Okay. Awesome. All right, anything else on that?
I would ask just one thing, maybe it's a little bit late in the game, but while we do have council on the line here. Todd, anything else on that needs to be covered at this time for this change, this zoning change?
Not necessarily. You've accepted the opinion of your P and Z commissioners and you've approved the rezoning, so it's just a matter of documentation at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Todd. Okay, moving on to Muni Code codification. I know Danielle sent out something to Todd and I. It looks like there's some cost changes. Thanks for being there tonight from the Havens. We appreciate you being there and glad you're part of the community. Take care, guys. So, Daniel, I don't know if you want to jump in. I quickly read your email. And basically there's two pricing. There's a subscription kind of pricing for $700 that has X amount of pages to be put out. And Todd, I don't know if you had a chance to look at this or not. And then there's a per page cost that's going to go up to like $26. The subscription amount was $700, and I believe they said that would have covered all of the changes that we have made combined in 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I did the math, and if I'm right here, kind of, if we do the 700, one way, if we did the per page, if we did 26 pages, that would cost us around $700. And it looks like we're going to get more pages for the 700. Again, Todd, I don't know if you had a chance to weigh in or see what your thoughts are on that or not. I know Daniel just sent it out before the meeting.
Yeah, I took a moment before the meeting and I looked up their website. There is what they call a self-publish software that they apparently can sell you, which would allow Danielle or someone on staff to make the changes themselves. And there are other features, including meeting minutes, notes, the legislative history on a bill that becomes your code. There are a few things like that. Did they talk to you about maybe doing this in-house, buying through their software?
No, not yet. I got an email saying everything was changing, and then Renita and I had a conversation about getting the ordinances that we had done this previous year up on the Municode online. And so I reached out to them asking what the changes are, what the options are, and when I got back before the meeting, I saw that email and just forwarded it. I haven't had a chance to ask any more questions.
So I'm comfortable with the number, Tony, just because that's kind of your historical average, but it might be a good idea for Danielle to maybe do a Zoom or some face-to-face, maybe a demonstration of what this self-publish feature is. And she's very bright. I'm sure she could pick it up and be able to do some of that on her own, given that you guys don't make significant changes to your code on an annual basis.
Yeah, if that's
Yes,
something we do as it comes in, that would be a good idea for us, because then it'd be updated faster.
Danielle, if you go to their website, they used to be called MuniCode. They go by Civic Plus now. So if you go to civicplus.com and kind of scroll down to the bottom portion of their homepage, there's some FAQs, some frequently asked questions, and you can open this self-publish topic, and it says that, and there's actually a video that you can watch. It's not spectacular, but it talks about some of the features. But that might be something that if it's significantly less than 700, we could probably work on that and get that figured out. But the 700 seems like a fairly reasonable amount given all the various expenditures that we have nowadays for online presence.
So dig in and see how involved it is and
But it'll really be good, that way they could be updated on a more regular basis, and not
right, wait a year.
wait a year and you go, because when I went out to the website to look at a floodplain thing because of this hazardous deal. When I went out and looked at the floodplain ordinance, it has
The
the
old one.
old one, it doesn't have last year's little update we did. So I was telling Danielle, well, that's kind of bad, because if anybody goes out there, it's gonna be an outdated, some of them can be, and so we have to, let people know, hey, go call the village clerk to. So if we can do this, if this works out, Danielle does it, then it'll be current our
Mhm,
website.
mhm.
Keep
Yeah,
our fingers crossed.
right. Yeah, okay, well, I'll check into that and I'll just report back.
awesome. Thanks, Danielle. Thanks, Todd. Okay, moving on. General discussion. Does anybody have anything they'd like to discuss tonight?
I don't think so.
Well, I have a few things if no one has something.
Do you mind if I jump in?
No, jump right in, please.
Are the folks from the Havens gone?
They're in Ike's office. You need them back in or no?
No. I won't say anything that I wouldn't say to their face. So you're satisfied that the future sales tax revenues from a commercial development there warrants the rezoning? Is that what you guys decided?
There's no sales.
He's
Yeah,
saying,
yes,
are we
yeah,
sure we
yeah.
wanna rezone it and lose
Yeah.
potential sales tax
Yeah.
on a commercial spot there?
You won't get any on that.
I don't have a problem with that.
I just remember some original conversations about your desire to adhere to the comprehensive plan that's in place that would, that kind of signified that to be one of the few commercial locations in the village. But I mean, you've made your vote. I just wanted to make sure that you guys are, because now going forward, that front corner lot would be an adjacent lot to R2. So if someone comes to you, I don't know that anybody's going to want to spend $500,000 on that lot to put R2, properties there, but they would have a stronger argument now because you have R2 that abuts that corner lot there across from the POA now.
This is only 1.6 acres next to the point. It's not rezoning the whole parcel, it's only the parcel that's 1.6 acres next to the Havens.
I was originally part of the Havens.
Was it originally all the way up to that corner lot? Because I thought that's what I understood it to be.
It's just a small corner on the northwest side of the Havens property. Of which the Havens has cut that off of it, at 1.62 acres, I think it was. That they've pulled out of that. That is the only part that we were talking about rezoning to the R2.
And it's at the end of that road that goes down to the main
Yeah.
Havens. It's not up by that.
And this was an original parcel for the Havens, right? They just split that parcel into two.
Subdivided.
Yes, it was subdivided after,
Back.
after the Haven started, then they subdivided this part out.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. I thought that was a much larger parcel that was being redeveloped there.
And Todd, one thing that was brought up last night was the fact that that small size of lot, there is no room for docks for any type of commercial to go in on that small parcel on the lakefront, being back in a code like that, so.
Well, I know that's the same argument that Ryan Gattemeyer made on the bulk of that second tier parcel. He made an argument that commercial, development was improbable and might not occur there. But if that's not what you guys looked at, Daryl, and I became educated tonight. I wasn't there, so
All right, Todd, any other questions?
no.
All right, thank you, sir. Real quick, I have a few things. I believe we have a slate of candidates for the election in April.
There are two
Okay. I think we know who those two are.
from by the 28th of this month, so I'll get all that sent off to them.
Okay. And Sergio's is closed or closing, I'm hearing.
Forever?
Sergio,
That's what I've heard.
We did a lot of work for a short amount of time.
I know.
Oh, they sure did.
A lot of money.
Yeah, yep.
and I believe Danielle, you had some information about what may be a future use there.
Well, it's all rumor. I haven't heard straight from the source, but rumor is that they weren't paying their bills, so they were removed. They're being outed, and he's bringing in another Mexican restaurant. All rumors, I don't know.
Okay, and I know that we have a new sheriff. Chris Edgar's in. And my question was to Abe or Jimmy, is there any talk or have we added or going to add any more sheriffs on the bend?
We have discussed it, as soon as we get, enough applicants, we will be working on that. So, yeah, that's the plan. Do we have a
So-
time? Oh,
Do you know what the plan is, or can you share, or we don't know yet, or?
I mean, nothing's set in stone, we have definitely discussed it, try to get it beefed back up before summer. That is
Okay,
similar to a lot more than what we had last year, maybe. I mean, we'd like to get it at least to what we had prior to the POA pulling out. If not a little bit better than that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But yeah, we have discussed it. We just trying to get more people to apply and get them trained and all that stuff.
okay. Well, we appreciate it. We need to help with anything, just let us know. One thing that when I was at the meeting where the commissioners approved this year's contract, there was talk about expanding the use and functions of the downstairs to make it a larger substation. To not only make it more beneficial for us having you there, but also add some value for having more people, more sheriffs out here. And if there's something there we can help with, just let us know. Okay. One last thing is I wanted to see what you guys' thoughts were on starting some effort that you would call economic development, I guess is the term. And that means trying to bring in retail, commercial into the village. And if you look at Lake Ozark and Osage Beach, they actively have work on economic development of trying to bring businesses into the community. I did go to Lake Ozark. It's called Lordac, Lordac. Harrison Fry runs this group, and they're focused on trying to get communities in the area to look at opportunities for economic development. And I just think this might be a good time for us to start some type of activity to see if we can bring some type of businesses into the village. Especially when Luann shares with us our sales tax is down a little bit. And that might be just working more with the realtors, reaching out to some of the developers in the area, in the communities to find out, is it what kind of businesses? Why do we not have businesses? Is there something keeping them from coming out here? Is there some things that we can entice some commercial to come out here? What type of commercial? And I thought maybe we might want to start with just meeting with the lodge folks and just let them know that we're thinking about this. What are they thinking? I don't even know who the new owners are of what up there. Um, but it might be time to just again kind of reach out to them and connect. But I don't mind working this and spending some time on it, but I wanted to know y'all's thoughts before we decided to do anything here.
Well, I think we all know that we need some revenue. We need to try to continue to get revenue in here, especially with Luann's dismal report. Well, her report wasn't dismal. She did a fine job in the presentation, but the news wasn't very good. So, yeah, we need something. I don't know what flags we can try to fly to get somebody going out here, I don't know. I don't know, besides just it being beautiful out here, I don't know what sort of things that we can try to promote for the Horseshoe Bend, for businesses to be out here in Horseshoe Bend instead of Lake of the Ozarks, instead of Osage Beach or Camden or whatever, but that's somebody that has some greater vision for that can make those presentations. And I think, Tony, I think you would be a wonderful spearhead for that.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, you got the contacts, you know the people out there.
Yeah, you know the people.
But I think, I really miss over the years, and I've had people talking to me, neighbors and friends, and that the Bittersweet Plaza, David, where you have your place, that is just so underdeveloped. And some of the comments I've heard over the years is like, oh, it'd be nice to have like a little ice cream shop or a little coffee shop, and that would maybe be something that's, it's like, hey, somebody could share a space and maybe run like a coffee shop and donuts in the morning, and then somebody pick up the other half in the afternoon and do the ice cream stuff, so that's kind of an idea. Some of us have said, man, it'd be nice if somebody could do that. So that would be an idea maybe for a business, but something like that to try to promote that. And I would think that'd be a good seasonal, and everybody likes to swing by and pick up coffee on their way to work, so that may be something that would be a long term. But yeah, I think it's a great idea because we do need some type of more business.
Well, just like I don't know, have we heard back from the gentleman that want to do the food trucks?
I think I don't know if we've heard anything more back from him. He certainly has some permits going on there, and isn't there something that says vendor space or tenant space, or what is that?
No parking, no trespassing. This is a tenant's property. There was people parking and dumping up there illegally.
Yeah.
So he called and asked to put signs up, and I gave him the okay to stop it. And then he started filling with dirt up there to clean that property up.
Okay.
Then
Go
ahead, Tony.
Go ahead, Ike. I'm sorry.
I said I've been in touch with Mike Riley once a week on his progress, but now that things are frozen, he can't really move dirt or compact anything because it's got moisture and stuff. And so I have not heard from him last week or this week.
Well, it just that as an example of, it might be nice if like Ike and I reached out to him, met with him again, had lunch with him, just kind of talking about, where are you that, okay, we're trying to develop this area out here. And just talking to some of the realtors, just spend a little money on some advertising with some businesses. But I think if we could just get an understanding of one, why do people not come out here? And is this something we can change? And number two, what kind of people should we be looking at to come out here? And even talking to Ike, there's some there's some property that people want to do some commercial stuff around HH. I know the AB property, and then the property by the campgrounds. If they would spin off just some of those partials and sell those, versus tying them all up with 45 acres or 21 million. But anyway, if you guys are okay with that and you think it's value, I don't mind spending some time on it.
I think it's a good idea.
Luann?
We've got the commercial property across from Lopata's. And we have the commercial, oh, we don't, that's not
commercial.
that is not
No,
commercial,
it's not
okay.
commercial. Really
What
not.
about the POA, next door to the POA, is that considered?
That
commercial?
is,
That's commercial, okay,
That would be a prime.
and that's prime real estate right
Across
there.
from Lopata's, we approved changing it to the POA with that sign.
We're not signing up on
And then
it,
did the county get it or something?
somebody owns it, yeah,
The county had it
And
and
they
had it
sold
for
it.
sale,
And
I
it's
just know the
sold.
county sold
I
it.
think so, yeah, I think it's so.
That might be just a simple conversation with the Browns to say, would you guys change your position with the POA and approve the POA granting that to be commercial? I don't know, but again, working some of this stuff to just get to see if there's some movement. Todd, I don't know if you have any thoughts or.
Oh, am I unmuted? Yeah. So, I mean, there are a few things that municipalities can do for economic development. You've got TIF, CIDs, and NIDs. You really don't have any blighted areas for redevelopment to address in the village, so that's off the table. So that's called Chapter 353 for blighted areas. You don't have really an industrial area, so that's Chapter 100 in our statutes for industrial development bonds. So your incentives would be perhaps to maybe think about a TIF commission to appoint a TIF commission or a group of people to act as a TIF commission, and then incentivize developers to create something in the village by giving them a tax abatement for a period of up to 23 years in exchange for their development in the community. But whoever owns the ground, since the village arguably doesn't have an industrial park or a commercial park where they own any of the dirt, it would have to be kind of a solicitation of the people that own the dirt, or might be willing to develop their own property or sell it in conjunction with someone to do something. I would start with that lot up by the POA. That seems to be the most readily available lot in the village where something commercial could go in rather quickly. But they want $500,000 for it for like an acre. So it would have to be a fairly popular or aggressive commercial development that would go in there. I know you probably need to reach out to the Horseshoe Bend Special Road District as well and get their feelings on how many cut-ins you want to have on Horseshoe, on Bagnell, or not Bagnell Dam Boulevard, but on 242, because I know one of the stumbling blocks for the development of that corner there at the POA was Dollar General wanted their own and separate ingress egress off of 242, and the road district thought it would be too cumbersome to have another cut in because there's the POA, the Havens, the golf course, and the lodge all right there within 500 yards of one another. So to put another dedicated ingress right there was going to be a problem. So that's something to kind of think about. But so I would look at your comprehensive plan, see what areas you think would be the easiest to develop or the most advantageous to develop for the village, and then reach out to the owners of those properties and see what they've got in mind. Perhaps that might be a good conversation to have right off the bat. And then, of course, your low-hanging fruit is to go to Lafata's and see if they have a desire to expand their operations or do something more, and see if Cheryl's interested in doing something with his place, or the Rucks or somebody else that might have some undeveloped ground along 242. That's probably where I would start, would be along 242, but there are other areas as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other conversations or talk about this before we move on?
No, I don't,
Okay.
What?
Anything else you want to talk about that?
The only thing, that property that's over there by, activity center, Todd's talking about, and even the one that's between the campground and the golf course. Is that all just villages jurisdiction? That's not POA jurisdiction?
That's not POA, that's all
Okay.
village jurisdiction, but that's still owned by Peter.
Right, right. Okay. That's one clarification.
And it's zoned,
Green space,
Green
space.
space, yeah,
it has no zoning classification at this time.
okay.
Okay, one other quick question, Todd. I think this has happened before, but let's say if for some reason Little Rizzo's and Barbecues wanted to be annexed into the village. Is that something even possible since we don't own any land close, or there's no land close to them by the village?
I think the argument when Jim was kind of spearheading that was the argument that it could jump 242. Normally it has to be an adjacent property to something that's already commercial or part of the jurisdiction for it to be annexed. But I think if they wanted to come in on a friendly annexation, that little area could certainly be part of the village if they wanted to come in. You probably have to sell them as to why it would be an advantage for them to come in, because I've always heard that Blackhawk is an absolute no right now.
Yeah.
So for that to really happen, you'd have to jump 242. I think, in my humble opinion, I think the best and most opportunistic area, other than that lot I just described near the Havens and the POA, is the old executive golf course that has a lot of frontage on 242. I had lunch with a wonderful guy named Mike Ruck and a guy named Joe Rader the other day, and they mentioned that at one time the Avila timeshare project was going to kind of run along that old executive golf course, but they weren't sure what the future looked like now that another group was going to be managing that property. But maybe, in my humble opinion, there's not a better pad or prepared area and a high traffic area than that old executive golf course. If you could convince someone to put a strip mall in there with a sandwich shop, nail salon, tax preparation, blah, 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 that I think would be advantageous to the lodge and to the village, because I believe up to the boundary of Blackhawk, I believe, is part of the village. So you wouldn't have to do any annexation there. I don't look for the lodge to redevelop or convert the golf course in any way, but across the nation, some golf operators are taking a portion of their golf property that could be used along, like, for example, 242 there. If the lodge were to reroute their golf course and wanted to take advantage of that, they could put some high density or commercial use there along 242 and shorten their golf course or get rid of a driving range or something like that. That's happening nationwide on some people. But it's just kind of you guys are an interesting and unique unicorn in that the vast majority of your development and the vast majority of your property has historically been residential, with an emphasis towards protecting their values and encouraging kind of high-end residential development. So this is kind of a new deal to think about and discuss commercial developments. But there's certainly some areas there you just kind of have to get people kind of interested in doing that, and maybe a TIF along the old executive golf course. It might entice a lodge or someone to do something there, but only time and a conversation would tell.
Okay. Thank you, Todd.
You bet.
All right. I'll spend a little time on it and we'll see what we can find out. Okay.
Did read the comprehensive plan in my research on the mitigation, filling that in. And I did say in here where it did say something about the economic development, but the results of the people who replied, they said, the residents said, yes, it'd be good, but they wanted to keep it kind of to a minimum, they don't want a major commercial, so they're saying not to have any, but they want to be kind of, I guess, selective. Yeah, so.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, thanks everybody on that. So we'll move on. Todd, do you have something for us tonight?
Not so much. I do want to caution the trustees. We've got an advocate in Camden County who's on the commission, who's one of the commissioners, and he's kind of going through a rough patch right now. So I would caution you to keep your comments and even at Hy-Vee or anywhere in the public regarding his situation. He's been a good advocate for the village, and I don't know how that's going to turn out. Whether the special prosecutor out of the AG's office is going to file charges or not, but he's always been a good friend of the village, so I would caution you to temper any statements about his situation. The court is doing very well. It seems like every year it is a little bit more burdensome to file their tickets and do what we need to do to kind of monitor that. But thus far, the tickets have been fairly straightforward. I'm trying to still get restitution for a woman whose car was alleged to have been broken into. Tim Caesar's representing that defendant. He's a pilot and he wants to protect his ability to fly. So I think we're going to get that worked out. But she had damages in excess of $1,800 or so. I think $1,500 if I'm not mistaken. She's interested in getting that money. But other than that, everything else seems to be going fairly well. I did become the assistant prosecuting attorney at Osage Beach. So if you get a ticket between Horny Toad and Camdenton, I'll probably get to see it. So tell your friends and neighbors that to drive carefully and not break the law.
Well, I understand red cars are not involved in that, so,
Well,
all right.
exactly. The two-door variety. I hope that that's a help and something that's really good for the village and my position with the village as well. I think it will be. I know my relationship at the road district and with others on Horseshoe Bend has helped the village. So I certainly hope that knowing what they're doing and watching what they're doing and being involved in their governmental affairs might help the village going forward as well.
Well, congratulations. I'm sure you'll do well for him. Okay, anything else, Todd? Anything, questions for Todd? Okay, Danielle.
The only thing I have is records retention. I gave you guys all a copy of the list of everything that we took out to destroy. Yeah. If there's any questions you guys have, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna call and get that shred picked up.
Yeah, I was wanting to see one of those, but I guess I
I
probably.
think that might have been in the box that was in the.
That was damaged.
Damaged.
Yes, I suspected there was some water damage downstairs. Yes.
Yeah.
Great, glad it's done.
The only question for clarification, on your list, I see you have the years and then the item,
Mhm.
and I'm assuming the year is associated to like the first one, business licenses, that those are what were done in 2017.
That is the year that we could get rid of, so yes.
Okay, well,
Most of it varies just by topic as to the number of years it takes. Okay, that was my question.
so further down the Sunshine Law one, you have the year 2024. But it says that, that's something that had been expired for 2 years. I didn't quite understand that 2024 year.
The following items are to be destroyed for business in 2024, so they, anything that had already expired, she took out.
Okay, she just deleted it
Yeah,
last year, okay.
yeah.
So are we free of, the rest of it has been Microsoft or whatever you call it, everything's been
It's gonna
photos.
be scanned in.
Yeah,
So we do have it, I think she has just a little bit left to scan, and then she's gonna start in on the next retention schedule. But it won't be as big, so we'll just shred as, like, we'll keep a list and then we'll, yeah.
Okay.
There's something else I thought about when you asked that question, well, some things we still have to keep a paper copy of or send it to be microfilmed.
Okay.
But mostly we will be paper free once the shred is picked up.
Great.
Thank you so much, you and Brenda, for doing this.
Give Brenda all the credit on that one,
A lot of work.
she did most of it and figured out how to keep the table straight and where to move stuff.
I see a trash can in the office.
Yep,
That's a nice.
You should see the 6 in the other office.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
we've come a long ways on our document management, so absolutely, nice job. Uh, So Danielle,
yeah.
understand you found out that the post office is closed tomorrow?
Apparently Brenda sent me a message and asked if we were open. I'm like, what are you talking
Oh,
about?
it's the
For-
Carter's,
yeah.
it's Carter
She's
Street.
like, I was at the post office and there was a sign saying they were closed. Why is the post office closed?
Why we made it a federal holiday.
Yeah. For tomorrow, yeah.
So I'll just ask, I'll ask Dave.
can I ask it?
Yes, do that.
Are we open tomorrow here at the Village of Four Seasons City Hall?
I don't know what the thing said, so I don't know.
Yeah, I would say yes. Unless.
They'd have the old Friday with the snow.
I know, that's what I'm thinking, if you close tomorrow for Jimmy Carter and then, oh, I can't get out of my driveway.
A 4-day week.
I could have a really good weekend. And it's his birthday coming up.
Hey, a wise man told me we could pick our own holidays.
A
Well,
wise man?
I think, I don't know if he was a wise man, but without any, certainly, certainly respect for President Carter. I want to certainly make that statement that he certainly was a great president and all, but I don't know that we need to be closed tomorrow. I guess I just want to make that
Because I don't think it's a state
clear,
holiday.
you know, as long as we're not busting any laws or anything, counselor, we're okay for them to come in tomorrow.
It's a federal holiday. I don't think that matriculates down to state, county, or local governments. I haven't heard that any of our local courts or state offices will be closed tomorrow, but maybe they will. I don't know. I think it's federal.
I'll be here.
Okay, thank you guys for coming.
Okay. All right, thanks everybody for that.
Take a longer line.
So, Dave, thanks for asking the question. So, comments from visitors. We have anybody that wants to address the board tonight?
Nope. I think maybe Matt.
Oh, yeah, Matt Marshall.
Matt Marskey, he was the engineer, he signed up, but they're gone.
Okay. If no one has anything else, our next meeting is February 12th. If there's nothing else, we can entertain a motion to
I'll make
close the meeting.
the meeting at 6:34.
Now, second.
All in favor?
I
Motion passed. Okay, you guys have a great rest of the week. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, stay warm.
All right, we'll try. Bye.
Bye.
Don't forget, thank you all, it's on tonight.
Yeah, I can't wait.
9 o'clock.
What is it?
Thank you.